back to the channel, everyone. Today we lower the Panigale V4. So as most of you guys know, I've had the V4 for a few months now. I've been able to put about 630 miles on it or something like that. Let's go ahead and get an exact count here. I just got this bike through the first service period. Let's see what the actual mileage is. 631. So I have been able to ride the bike for that amount of mileage at the stock height. So it's definitely doable, but let me show you what my real issue is with this bike. First thing I want to point out is look at how much further the V4 is leaned over compared to a V2. Right. Pretty big difference. Let me step back a little bit. The V4 is leaned over way further than the V2. Even my RS V4 can be a little bit harder because of its positioning, but it does not lean over near as much on the kickstand. And let me show you why that's important to me. Let's check it out. So let's go ahead and jump on the V4. Again, it's leaned over pretty far, so when I need to get it off the stand, I've got to kind of get some momentum here. Kind of do one of those. Now look what happens when I try to get the kickstand. Can't quite reach it. And depending on the type of riding shoes I'm wearing, I really can't reach it. So what I end up having to do is kind of both feet off the ground just very briefly. I make sure that the bike is completely straight up and down. I take both feet off the ground real quick and I snatch the kickstand like so. And same thing with putting the kickstand down. It's very difficult to do. So I end up having to do something like that. So see how both my feet have to be off the ground for a short period of time? And here's a close-up of it. So this is me with one tippy toe down. I can't really get it. I can't really get the kickstand. So this is me both feet off the ground just briefly. Okay? And again, both feet off the ground to set the kickstand down. As we approach these bikes from the rear, we can see how much further the V4 is leaned over compared to the V2. Big difference there. Now I don't want to alter the bike too much. I don't want to have to drop the front forks. I don't want to have to get a different kickstand or anything. So what I've done is I've got an Aella lowering kit. It's supposed to lower the bike 20 millimeters. Here's the Aella lowering link kit. These are made in Japan. You can see there's our part number there. It's supposed to lower the bike 20 millimeters. So today we're going to check to see if that's true. I mean, it's not much height. 20 millimeters is not much, but I think that'd be sufficient for me to at least get the kickstand. Me trying to do the both feet off the ground thing, it's not too bad on flat ground, but if I'm on an uneven surface or I've parked in the gutter or something like that, then it gets a little sketchy. I mean, obviously I don't want to have a tip over with a bike like this because of how expensive those parts would be. So I'm hoping that 20 millimeters will give me just enough height difference to make it easier to get that kickstand down, and I won't have to, and it won't alter the handling, or I won't have to change the kickstand and all the other stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a measurement. Now this bike is on a stand, so keep that in mind. What we'll do is we'll subtract the after height to see what the difference was. What I did here was put a piece of tape on the cowl and put a mark on it right at 35 inches. Okay, now let's go ahead and tear it down. For sure going to have to take off the lower fairings. Almost positive I'm gonna have to remove the exhaust as well, but that's okay because I'm changing the exhaust anyway, and you will see that on the next video. Okay, so this is what we're working with here. We need to get to that link there. As you can see, almost positive we're gonna have to pull that exhaust off. I've seen people remove the exhaust without loosening the header, but I don't really wanna looks like you're putting a lot of pressure on the both the front and rear manifold. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just loosen up that rear manifold there so we can take the exhaust off a little bit more easily. This is your reminder, if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Same handle here, Ride with Kai. You guys wanna see something funny? Look at how Ducati puts on the heat shielding. This is the exhaust heat shield. Look at how they put on the heat shield mat. This one here, or these two here crack me up the most. That one and that one there. There's our exposed rear manifold. Surprisingly, it doesn't look too bad. To get to those fasteners, I think I'll be able to do it with some creativity with my universals and extensions. So this is really disappointing. Normally I do all my own service from A to Z on all my bikes. For whatever reason, I just had a lapse of judgment or just doubted myself and wanted a Ducati dealership to do the first service on this V4. And I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's not that big of a deal, but I mean, look at how much oil they spilled on the inside of my exhaust heat shield. So, I mean, I'm changing this anyway, which we're putting an exhaust on it, but I mean, when you pay good money for a service, you kind of expect more. I mean, look at how much oil they spilled in there. And I kind of had a clue when I took the first side of the exhaust heat shield off. You could see here, there's some oil spilled on the bottom there. Hopefully it's coming through on camera. That was kind of my clue, but I had no clue that there'd be that much oil spilled in there. Pretty sloppy work. Goes to show you, if you want it done right, sometimes you just have to do it yourself. Anyways, let's keep on going here, get this exhaust dropped. We're also I'm putting an exhaust on this bike, so we'll go ahead and pull this servo as well. All right, so got the manifold all loose. As you guys can see there. Wasn't too bad to get to everything. I had to get a little creative with my extensions. Just a little tip for you guys. For your universal joints, if you put, electrical tape actually works better, but I didn't have any at the time, so I just put regular tape. But what that tape does is it keeps the universal joint, it gives you a little bit more control on that universal. So here's a universal with no tape on it. If you see here, if there's no tape, it's hard to sneak it in behind things because you don't have a lot of control over what that universal's doing. Okay, so actually just loosening the manifold didn't work. I completely removed the nuts off the manifold, as you guys can see here. Get you guys a closer look. It's got that manifold completely off. I'm trying to separate it here from that exhaust, kind of a pain, but we're about halfway there. Okay, there we go. Okay, header completely loose. Still have the O2s in there, but it's completely disconnected from the exhaust itself. Oh, my God. I just noticed this too. This was definitely not like that before I dropped it off for service. So I don't know what happened there. It looks like maybe it got hung up on the rear set, and that's where that gouge and that scratch came from. I think that scratch I can polish out, but that sucks. I'm almost positive that was not like that. So I'll try to contact the dealer, see what they say. I mean, I kind of already accepted the bike. I picked it up already, and you know, I basically rode it from there to home. That's it. But that kind of sucks. I'll put that on me. I should have looked better at the bike before I released it, but call them anyway. That sucks. So anyways, all that work just to get to this here. Let's go ahead and open up that Aella package and see what the difference is. Here's what comes in the package. Kind of funny, we got Panigale here, and then we have on the instructions Panigale. So I guess that's how you know it's a Japanese product. The whole English L thing is kind of, they just can't do it for some reason. But as you would expect from Aella, really nice quality pieces. They do give you new hardware, which is great. The hardware appears to be good quality as well. Really like this detail. They have the right and the left marked, and they appear the same functionally, but I think the reason is, see how they have this Aella there? If you want it to be right side up, it is going to be directional. You have to put on the right side and the left side. So nice little detail from Aella. So we're gonna have to support the bike somehow. Once I take those bolts out for those suspension links, it's not gonna be supported by the suspension anymore. So just looking at possible places to jack this bike up, I'm thinking this nice flat spot on the oil pan's probably gonna be our best bet. All the bike's weight isn't gonna be on that one point. There's still gonna be all the weight on the front tire there. It's just to kind of support it so it doesn't drop.
I'm in danger!
That's why you always work with the kickstand down. So luckily in this case, the rear stand as well, it would keep it from falling all the way over. But whenever you work on a bike, leave that kickstand down. It's just extra measure of safety. So that being said, if you do this, I'd say if you had another pair of hands, it'd be really helpful. It just keeps the bike a little more stable when you're jacking it up. When you get the bike kind of off its suspension, it gets a little unstable and a little tippy. But there they are, all installed. Aella says these need to be torqued to 80 Newton meters. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, but look pretty nice. Of course, I have my right side on the right side and the left side on the left side. There we go, back on the ground. Everything's torqued. It visually looks a little lower. I'm interested to see exactly how much, but that's what they look like, all installed. Nice looking set of links there. So let's go ahead and drop it and see what our measurement is. Okay, let's give it a try here. Oh yeah, I don't know what the actual measurement is, but it is much better. It's not leaned over as far either, which makes it easier for me to get it off the stand. As far as the kickstand goes, oh yeah, that's much better. Yeah, that's much better. So we're gonna find out what the actual measurement is here in a second, but this is way better. I don't have to come off of both feet to get the kickstand, which was my main concern on any uneven surfaces. It was just real sketchy. Oh yeah, it's much better on the kickstand. I can at least still have my 1 foot down and get it. And oh yeah, and I could put it down just fine. Yeah, this is much better. So on uneven surfaces, that's gonna be a huge help. All right, let's go ahead and take our measurement here. I've got the bike back on the stand. And let's see what we've got. Remember from before, this exact portion on the cowl, it was 35 inches. So if we look now, it's at a hair over, it's right at 34. So it looks like it dropped about an inch. So there it is, we'll see. That's actually more than I wanted to drop it. I only wanted to drop it that 20 millimeters that Aella specifies it would drop it. I don't know if it has something to do with this being a 2023 and maybe they measured for a 2018 to 2021 or something like that. Maybe that's why this has dropped more. But we'll see. I mean, it still leans over pretty far on the kickstand, so I don't need to change that, which is great. I don't track the bike or anything. I don't even really ride the bike fast or anything like that. So that doesn't mean that handling doesn't matter. I'm saying it doesn't matter, but I think it's pretty safe to say it matters less if you're not tracking it and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll go back to the stock links, or if somebody knows of some different links that don't lower it as much, let me know. But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of the thing, is you really don't know until you actually do it on your own. You don't know how much something's gonna affect something, how much it's gonna lower it, or how loud something is until you actually do it on your own. Just unfortunate. So that's why with these videos, I try to be as detailed as I can, so then that way you guys have as much information as you guys can get and you can make your own financial decisions here. But we'll see what happens. So regardless, yeah, hey, thanks so much for joining me, you guys. Exhaust is gonna be coming up. So that's huge stock exhaust is not going back on this bike. I have a set of slip-ons I'm gonna be putting on it. I'll flash it as well, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, see you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining me.